Welcome everybody to the Akash Steering Committee. This is the 17th edition of this Akash Monthly Steering Committee meeting. During the steering committee, the group goes over many of the things that happen across the various SIGs and working groups. There's a typical agenda that we go through, starting with, again, reviewing, discussion, and addressing any community feedback. From there, we review community, we review some of the boards, the project boards, including the product and engineering board, as well as the community and marketing board. Following that, we'll review any new GitHub discussions. Usually we try to focus on discussions from folks that have either come to a previous meeting or are here today to have the discussion in a little bit more detail. After that, we'll open up the floor to any other questions. So if anybody has any questions that they want or any topics they want to discuss today, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll add them to the agenda during the open discussion portion. And then we'll wrap up with just a look ahead at some of the special interest groups and working groups for the upcoming month. We recently had a steering committee at the top of this month because of all the action that happened around Akash Accelerate and Consensus 2024. So again, this is the second time we're meeting in June, but there's certainly been a lot that's been going on this past month. Again, I'll start with the typical agenda. I want to see if there's anything on the community side related to SIGs working groups or just the community and structure in general that anybody wants to address, get feedback on, or talk about in more detail. Cool. All right. If not, then we can move on to the second item on the agenda, which is around the project boards. Again, previously, last year, we were using projects lists. We've done a lot of the work around those projects lists and have now have these boards that get updated in fairly real time. Again, you can track what's going on in terms of what's been released, what's in testing progress, again, what's on the roadmap and beyond, both for the product and engineering side of the org, as well as what's going on in the community and marketing front as well. Couple of things that I wanted to talk about. We'll start off with the product and engineering roadmap. We can talk about this at a high level because there were a number of SIGs and working groups that have happened over the last week. During the SIG clients bi-monthly meeting, Anil did a great job with the Maxes and some of the folks, Jigger, Duvall, to talk about all the stuff that's happening in Console 2.0. Anil gave a short presentation on some of the bigger efforts that are happening over the next couple of months. So again, I'll give Anil some time to talk about it if he wants to later, but I would urge anybody when the notes are available in the next day or so for SIG clients to take a look there, because again, it was a great meeting. One of the big items that has happened since the last steering committee was the mainnet 12 upgrade. It was a success and happened very quickly. Much appreciate to all the validators that were online and again, helped with the node upgrade. Artur, is there anything that you wanted to mention in terms of the upgrade here today? Don't feel obliged.
No, I think it went very smoothly and we covered it in last SIG chain, so we could feel.
Absolutely. All right, continuing to move along, there's a couple of items that are in testing right now. One is around, and we talked about this at the last steering committee monthly meeting, it's around the MetaMask work from the Mystic Labs team. Thank you to the Maxes who have been looking to incorporate CosmoKit into Console, for getting on a call with the Mystic Labs team. I believe the error that there's an issue, a bug right now that's a CosmoKit bug that the Mystic Labs team is working through. And again, the product and engineering team is continuing to monitor that so we can get this Mystic Labs MetaMask work over the line and get this into released. So again, there will be some more information over the next day or so, but I just do want to shout out Max C and Max B for taking the time to connect with the Mystic Labs team, get them everything that they needed in terms of environment setup. And again, the Mystic Labs team should be delivering a solution around the MetaMask CosmoKit integration very, very soon. One other item that I won't go into too much detail on is updated provider build. We talked about this at length yesterday during the SIG providers meeting. Jigger and Duvall talked about some of the testing that they're going to be doing. If anybody has any questions about this issue, again, you can look inside the notes. You can find out where the instructions are. If anybody from the community wants to continue to test, you can track where some of the testing is going on and where that currently stands at this point. But again, this is something that in regards to just general provider stability and an improvement of the provider build process is something that Scott Carruthers has been working on with the rest of the engineering team and the product team to, again, do some testing. And this, as discussed in SIG providers yesterday, will continue to be tested, and then we'll look to be integrated into the work that the Praetor team is doing around Console 2.0. So again, if anybody wants to go into more detail about the provider build improvements, feel free to comment on these specific issues, or listen to the SIG providers monthly meeting call, the recording, look at the notes, and feel free to join as a future SIG providers call if you so desire. All right, covering most of the stuff in testing and in release. Again, during the SIG clients call yesterday, Anil gave an update on all the work that you can kind of see here related to Console 2.0. He just dropped an additional note that gives more clarity inside of the chat. So again, shout out to the product team that's been working diligently and being transparent about all the things that are being worked on, where they stand, etc. And I know that more members of the just general Akash community are getting involved in supporting developing some of these features and getting engaged with the product core team. So major shout out there. Anil or anybody else, is there anything that you wanted to discuss in more detail that wasn't discussed in SIG clients yesterday? Go ahead, Anil.
Yeah, not a whole lot to add to what we talked about in SIG clients yesterday, but just to summarize things, there's kind of 5 initiatives that we're pursuing in the near term for under basically the Console 2.0 umbrella. And keep in mind that these are just like for the next 2 to 3 months, and there's a lot longer roadmap for Console beyond that as well that we presented at Accelerate. Greg talked through a lot of that as well. But I dropped a link to 4 of those. Those are primarily focused around improving developer experience for people getting started with Akash, whether it's people coming from public clouds like AWS or people coming from platform as a service products like Vercel or Netlify. All of those types of users are going to be supported much better within Akash and within Console. And then separately, we're also going to work on a custodial experience for people that are not crypto native. So those are kind of the main things in terms of the developer experience and improving adoption of Akash side. And then separate from all that, we are working on a provider console. So this will be a console for people that want to set up a provider. It'll make it almost as easy as deploying a workload. Setting a provider will be almost as easy as deploying a workload, including being able to set up being able to create a Kubernetes cluster using K3s. So Devil and Jigger are working actively on that. And some of the tasks you see that talk about creating shared packages, that has to do with basically carving out components that can be utilized in that provider console as well. So that's just generally the things that are going on the console side. The stuff actually that has already shipped from the things I mentioned, we have support obviously for private registries. So people that have container images that they want to keep private inside a private registry, they can also deploy using console now. So that's awesome. And then the other thing is the cloud VM style deployments that code is all pushed, or code is all committed to the repository as of a couple of days ago, and it's going to get pushed out to console by the end of today. And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Anil. I think Anil also touched on it, and it was covered a lot during Akash Accelerate, but there was a proposal around some work that the Human HQ team will do to contribute to, again, console. Thank you to all those that contributed in discussions. Again, Human HQ team gave discussions at SIG clients. They had discussions on GitHub, a pre-draft discussion to gauge interest from the community. There seemed to be interest. They then continued to connect with members of the core product team and SIG clients and other meetings to get more feedback on the best approach. Went through a number of paces, and then again, when it made sense, they put a proposal on chain, which passed. So thank you to all the validators that voted on the proposal. And then again, they'll start to integrate their work into all that's going on with console under, again, Anil's guidance. So again, much appreciated to all those that participated in any part of that process. And again, we'll provide more updates on all their work in future steering committee meetings. Cool. All right, continuing to move along. Again, I know that during SIG chain, as well as in the last steering committee, Archer went into great detail about all the work that's happening on the engineering side regarding the upgrade to Cosmos 47. I know Archer has been working with the rest of the engineering team on next step strategy roadmap for what, again, that upgrade will look like, because it is a major event. The timeline is scheduled, again, pending testing is scheduled for end of summer, early fall. But please look out for future announcements, whether it be through SIG chain or another special interest group or working group for folks that want to get involved in testing, get involved in understanding the process, and or how it'll affect like other parts of the Akash ecosystem. So again, please take a listen to SIG chain and or the last steering committee to go in depth on all the stuff that Archer covered related to the Cosmos 47 upgrade. And then again, look out for announcements, whether it be on the website or in Discord, about next steps there for those that want to get involved. And there's an item on this board where you can also track what's going on there. Does anyone have any questions on anything on the product and engineering roadmap? Again, we've discussed this in great detail in a number of special interest group and working groups as of recently, but I do want to see if there's anything else that anybody on this call wants to discuss in more detail before we move on. All right. If not, then again, next up is the community and marketing initiatives. One of the big things that I'll hand over the mic to Amanda and or Zach is around ETH CC. There's a number of events going on in Brussels. So I wanted to hand over to Amanda, who wasn't able to join the last steering committee, but I know that they're getting ready for all the events happening in Brussels. So Amanda and or Zach, do you want to spend a minute or so talking about what's coming up in Brussels and beyond?
Yeah, I'll take it first. We have a full slate. Our team is set to arrive on July 5th and stay until the 12th or 13th. Some of the team is leaving then. We are participating and or sponsoring 18 different events. So Greg has 15 that he's specifically talking at. Anil has, I think, 3 or 4. And the rest of us are going to be bopping around and going to the main conference, as well as supporting all of these other speaking arrangements. So we are going to be everywhere. It's very exciting. We have a lot of good stage time, as well as a really big focus this year on decentralized AI and DePIN focused events. So that's mostly it. I mean, I can give a very detailed summary at some other point. It would take me a really long time to go through every single side event that we're going to. So I'm going to spare you. So that's it from me as far as the side events and sponsorships that we're participating in.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. Again, as the Akash team touches down in Brussels, you know, insiders, members of the core team alike I'm sure there will be a lot of content that gets created and shared out of that, to look out for, updates there from folks that'll be on the ground. I know there's a number of other initiatives that are going on the community and marketing side. I wanted to see if there's anything that anybody wanted to discuss or had more questions about regarding any community or marketing initiatives. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, one thing worth touching base on here really quickly is the Akash Chat API, which we put into beta a few weeks ago. That beta has gone tremendously well. We're going to be opening up the permissionless version of that in the next couple of weeks, as soon as we get the UI done for it. So that's not only in progress, it's about to be done really shortly here, and then we'll promote that as soon as it's live.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Zach. Anil, I saw your hand up and I saw you drop a message in the chat. Do you want to speak to it, or I know people can read?
Yeah, I just dropped it as a message actually, but one of the things we're doing leading up to ECC is we are doing a hackathon with a company called Flock.io. They're a federated learning platform that is using Akash for compute. And so, we're trying to basically get people to use Flock and then as a result use Akash. And so there's a AMA that's happening with them today. So if you can join that, it'd be great. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much. While we're on the topic of Flock, I will shamelessly plug a blog written by Zach and a member of the Flock team, Matt Burke, that was just recently released. So for anybody that has not seen that yet and wants to take a read, again, feel free. Cool. Is there anything else on the community or marketing projects board that anybody wants to discuss? Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, I will say that tonight is, I mentioned it already in the insiders, but tonight is the first part of our DPIN summer series in New York City. We have special guests from the Solana Foundation, the Helium Foundation, and Theric. And we're going to have a little panel as well as like a social mixer and networking time tonight down in the financial district. And it's going to be a 4-part series, one each month, June, July, August. And then we're going to have a bigger and more inclusive event when everyone is in town for Masari as kind of our close to that summer series. But yeah, we're really excited for that and looking for more initiatives like to set in the fall and even beyond New York City.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda, for that update. Anything else that anybody wants to discuss related to community or marketing initiatives or any of the project boards before we continue on with the agenda? Cool. All right. If not, then next up on the agenda is discussions. Again, there's a number of discussions that are happening. I would ask that anybody that here, I know there's a number of people and I talk about this all the time. Please look to get involved in discussions when you can. I know there's a number of people that reach out to me and talk about their opinions on discussions. I would ask that you make those public so that folks can, hear your opinions, get involved, give feedback, etc. So again, thank you to all those that get involved in these discussions. There's a couple that I want to touch on. I know that there's a new discussion that went in there, and we will discuss that. I believe the person that put that forth is here today. But quickly before we do that, there was one prior discussion that is that participant has come to SIG Economics a number of times. And is just looking to connect and get some feedback from the wider community. Looking for that discussion right now. Pardon me. Perfect. But is Jeremy here? I believe. Cool.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Excellent. Jeremy, I know that you have come to SIG Economics on a number of occasions and put this discussion forth, I believe April 10th. Do you want to take a minute to just go over the discussion and look for, again, a call to action from the community to give feedback?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Tyler. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy Shipper. I'm coming over from Shade Protocol over on Secret Network. Hope you're all doing well. I put up a proposal a while ago. Shade right now is going around to different really high quality Cosmos projects and seeing which community pools want to work with us. If any of you have read it, essentially the entire idea is we would ask for a proposal from your community pool and ours, and we pair it up on liquidity on our decks. Essentially, we want to be able to expand a lot of people's DEX liquidity for a lot of different teams. The biggest thing for Akash that we have seen based on feedback and a lot of the stuff that we do on Secret Network is the fact that all the transactions are private on Secret Network. So essentially it would allow for people to have entire setups and acquire their AKT tokens entirely privately because of Secret Network's DECC privacy technology. And we're very open to doing this essentially whenever and at whatever size. A lot of people have suggested $50,000 to $75,000 worth, and we're just looking for more feedback essentially on that. So happy to discuss it with anyone.
Excellent. Again, if anybody has any specific questions or comments, I urge folks to get involved in discussions. But does anyone have anything that they want to ask of Jeremy while he's here live with us today?
So this also means we got acquired SHD tokens?
No, we would unbond SHD tokens from our community pool, and then you would do yours, and then we pair them against each other. So we would be on the other side of that. And we're open to doing any sort of liquidity holding custody that you guys would suggest, whether you have a liquidity council, trusted actors, or just setting up a multi-sig on Secret Network. But we would be the other side of that pool.
Got it. We got to figure out the logistics if this is interesting to the community. I don't have any particular comments. Generally speaking, we historically haven't used community pool for liquidity needs, right? There is challenges of that approach. Well, from like a legal standpoint, from decentralization, whatnot. And also because it's purely liquidity, it's not really enhancing the value of the product per se. There are challenges as well as to how to handle this, logistically. Those would be my concerns. So I don't really have any other further comments on it.
Yeah, no, 100% that you're bringing those up. I know the biggest value add that we wanted to present was potentially more decentralized way to acquire the tokens just because of the privacy aspects of Secret Network. But yeah, all your concerns are 100% valid, and I'm more than happy to discuss it or wait on it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Again, there's been consistent conversation happening in the SIG Economics Discord channel as well as in SIG Economics monthly meeting. So I believe the next one is in a couple of weeks, but I asked that if anybody has any other questions, concerns, or what wants to move forward with this idea and discuss it more, feel free to drop those opinions and thoughts inside the discussion, please. Thank you very much, Jeremy. All right, continuing to move along. Again, I know that there is another discussion that is just submitted, and the person that created that discussion is here. I wanted to see if Sriram, you want to talk a little bit about
Yes.
discussion in more detail.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Hello, everybody.
Before Sriram goes, I want to give a little context for this proposal. So Sriram is a professor at University of Texas. He is a very well-known and very much loved professor, and he's got a lot of, he gave a talk at Accelerate, which is received very well by the community. And we're also doing quite a lot of work. And one of the big challenges for Akash to enable incentives is verification of compute. We all know what happens when you don't, I don't know how many of them paid attention to what's happening with several other networks where some networks took a very naive approach of not verifying actual compute with provider and give incentives. So you guys civil attacked, right? So verification is a foundationally important aspect for giving out incentives, especially in permissionless or trust minimized environment. And we couldn't find a better person to work on than someone like and Sriram basically he's got incredible experience and his resume speaks for himself. And and we are really honored that Sri decided to make a proposal to work on this verifiable compute for Akash. So Sri.
Thank you, Greg, for that very kind introduction. So, folks, it's my pleasure to be here after having the opportunity to meet Greg and Anil and Cheng. I'm a big fan of not just Akash, but of just the culture that you have. I think you have an amazing culture, so very welcoming and open. And I think, how do I put this? I'm naturally very drawn to collaborating and working with you. Quickly on this, I think the goal ultimately is to do both hardware and software verifiable computing. Software is a longer course. I think, especially real time, I think is a substantial effort. But I think the good news is on the hardware front, we can get started right away. The proposal here is to use an external, what's called a secure enclave and a dongle. So standard USB interface A or C to be able to build verifiable hardware provisioning and essentially manage both identification and secure provisioning. To quickly summarize the approach here, through a secure enclave, which has something called a physically unclonable function or a PUF, you must have seen this in a Ledger wallet or in a SIM. It's the same concept. You can actually both identify and check on the provisioning of a particular piece of hardware or a set of hardware. So it can be for one dongle is enough for the whole cluster. We first plan to identify and select a set of TEs that would be compatible with a whole variety of operating systems, and then to be able to build the mechanism. And the mechanism itself will be a pseudo-random way of essentially making sure that the GPU is benchmarked correctly. So we'd give it a benchmarking task, and if it matches the benchmark for example, RTX 4090 or similar, then it's currently identified as that particular type of hardware. And then this identification is then securely signed within the TE and then provided to the Akash network. So that's the plan. We plan to do this as a university project. So I'm the professor, but there'll be graduate students and some undergraduates as well, but mainly led by graduate students. And the plan is to kick this off ASAP. So that's the good news, is that we'll get to hopefully not just excite a bunch of young minds, but hopefully involve them at a much deeper level within our Akash network. So the university has prepared a budget for it, which is also linked. And the plan, we'd like to do this as aggressively as possible, but we put down a 2-semester, which is roughly 4 quarters plan here. But we should have, you'll see in terms of deliverables, we should be able to provide both the specification and a prototype pretty quickly. And then hopefully, after sufficient testing, we can hand this over to the core team. Perfect. So that's it in a nutshell. It's a very interesting project for me because both from a Sybil attack and ultimately from a overall network security perspective, I think it enables us to contribute to Akash network, which makes me feel really good. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Excellent. Thank you very much for putting together this very thorough proposal with, again, deliverables, budget, team, how you're looking to solve the problem. Does anybody have any initial questions that they want to talk to Sri about right now while we're all live? If not, again, I know this proposal just went up, but I would ask that everybody continue to read through the entire proposal. If they have any follow-up questions, they can drop those in as comments in the proposal. And then I'm sure we'll get back and forth using the proposal, using this as a way to go back and forth on next steps from there.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me.
Please, thank you. All right. If there's no questions on that proposal, then again, we can go back to general discussions. I wanted to see if there's any other discussions from anybody that's here today that they want to talk about live. Cool. All right. Well, then we'll continue to move along. Again, I would ask that everybody here and all insiders, vanguards can continue to get involved in discussions or ask those that are looking to contribute to Akash to get involved in some of these discussions and make their voices heard. Perfect. All right. Continuing to move along. Next portion is around open discussion. I did want to see if there's any, I don't see anybody that dropped anything in chat, but I want to see if there's anybody that has anything that they want to discuss with the group here today, live. Cool. All right. I will take that as a no. All right. Last portion is again the look forward. As previously mentioned, there will be some continued changes to the schedule for the SIGs and the working groups coming soon. But as previously mentioned, the SIG Economics SIG Economics is going to be happening July 3rd, next Wednesday. Following that, there's a couple of other that'll be happening the following week, SIG Chain and SIG Community. Again, as mentioned, there might be some changes to the structure of SIG Chain and or the formation of a potential another SIG that we talked about in SIG Support, which will involve more members of the core engineering team. So look out for updates on Discord. And then again, continue to use this calendar on the Akash website as your source of truth for all future SIGs and working group meetings. A couple other things to call out are SIG Design. There's a couple of folks that have been getting more involved in sharing designs for swag, sharing designs for other marketing materials. And some folks have been coming to the meetings, some more graphic designers and visual communicators. Again, if anybody from the community knows anybody that's looking to get involved in Akash and is a designer, have them, again, feel free to join the SIG Design. And again, there's some folks that are either dropping in designs or have already dropped in designs to the SIG Design Discord channel. Feel free to give your feedback on those designs so that we can either look to add them to the store or have them for future events or give feedback for some of these newer community members that are looking to contribute. Again, the Akash website working group is continuing to move along. There's a number of contributions that happen there on a monthly basis, or excuse me, on a bi-weekly basis. So again, if anybody wants to get involved in supporting the website or documentation, which is under the website, feel free to get involved in that bi-weekly working group. And then again, you can check out the rest of the addenda. SIG clients will most likely be removed because that is a bi-monthly meeting. And we just most recently met with a change of schedule just yesterday. But again, if anybody has any questions about console, again, we talked about those things in steering committee, or you can feel free to get involved in SIG clients. Luna, who is also very active with Quasarch, his team, and does a number of open source efforts with Akash, also gave a demo of some work that he's been doing with his team for some time. So again, feel free to take a look at the SIG clients recording and the notes, which will be available the next day or so, to see a demo from Quasarch and then see all the work that, again, the console 2.0 or the console team is working on related to console 2.0. Are there any other questions about anything that anybody wants to discuss related to Akash? Cool. If not, then again, I know this is a quicker steering committee than usual, but again, we just had one maybe 20 days ago. Appreciate everybody's time and effort today. Appreciate everybody that's been joining the SIG clients. Been joining a number of these SIGs and getting involved. Again, Demir gave a presentation, a demo of some work that he's been doing around Grafana and Prometheus in SIG providers just yesterday, and also in the Akash Insiders office hours today. So if anybody wants to get involved there, please take a look at the demo that he gave in SIG providers, and then reach out to him in the providers channel or the SIG providers channel about next steps. But again, much appreciate everyone's time and effort today. Thank you to all those that pitched their discussions. Please get involved in the discussions, and we'll continue to connect online. And look forward to all the events going on in Brussels, and safe travels to all those that are attending. But I'll see you all in the metaverse.